Well, hey there, vinyl community. Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records. And Sam St. John has a celebration of 2 years in the vinyl community, contest, I guess you'd say. And I wanted to shout out Sam. What a great channel. If you're not familiar with Sam's channel, I'll put a link down here below so you can subscribe to his channel. He is a music lover, a musician, all around great guy from one state north of me in Virginia. He also has a duo act with Glen from up in Canada. Whenever Glen comes down to see his daughter in Florida, he stops off and jams a little bit with Sam, and they post some videos like that sometimes. So check those out as well. Glen's got a great channel as well. Check his out. And I'm here, of course, with my faithful dog, Chester, who will be observing and making sure I don't do anything wrong. And let us know, mate, you on a bone a little bit while we're at it. And, of course, there's Rilla, the gorilla, who, unfortunately, Chester has done some chewing on of late. And I've got to maybe find somebody that does needlework and stuff and get them to see if they can sew Rilla the gorilla back up for me. Anyway, Sam's got 5 prompts for us so we can highlight some of our albums to commemorate his 2 years in the VC. The first one is to show a box set. I'll show you a couple of box sets. Here's one I just picked up. Here we go. And this is Mozart. It's 6-string quartets dedicated to Haydn. And this is from 1967. It's beautiful, beautiful music. It's on Philips Records. It's a 3-record box. And I was glad, very inexpensive record. It plays almost near mint. And very, very happy to get this. And of course, I think actually Sam said he really didn't get into Joni Mitchell too much, but I do. Joni's reprise years, the reprise albums from 1968 to 1971. Joni Mitchell. I actually had all of these, sometimes multiple copies of all of these, except for one. I did not have the first album. But beautiful, beautiful albums. And these weren't that expensive. So it's the first 4 albums Joni did on reprise. And see, that still crackles when you open it. And this one was simply Joni Mitchell. And then, I don't have these in the order that they came out, by the way. And this is, of course, Ladies of the Canyon, meaning Laurel Canyon. Of course, her iconic album, Blue. And this is the one I didn't have a good copy of, Clouds. The others I had decent copies, but now I've got, excellent copies of. That first album, A Song to a Seagull. I knew that didn't sound right when I said self-titled, but that song for To a Seagull was the first one, and that's the one I didn't have. I had Laurel Canyon. I had a copy of Clouds, come to think of it, but just not a really good copy of that. So. And this was not that expensive. As box sets go, you get her first 4 albums. I think it was about $120 shipped. So not bad at all. And then we have show an artist you've seen live. We'll first establish, first show the album. I bought this at the show. Little Jimmy Dickens, one of the stars dating back to the 1950s. I saw him in the 1980s. This is Country Music Hall of Fame. And he autographed it for me, so that would have qualified also for an autographed album. But he played at a little place Uh, let's see. He played on the back of a flatbed at a warehouse, in front of a warehouse at a place called a little community, not a town. It's just, I mean, literally just a community, a few houses scattered about, and one or two little businesses, and that was about it. A place called Linden, which is in Cumberland County, just across the border from where I live. And we went out there. It was 1983 or so. 80, I can remember it very clearly. And it was a drizzling rain, and it was like a festival, supposed to be a festival for Linden. Miss Linden was there, a little high school girl, is wearing her crown and everything. And I bet there weren't 15 people there. It was four of us. We made up at least a fifth, if not a fourth, of the crowd that day. It was drizzling rain, and nobody showed up. Most of the other festivities had been the day before. This was Sunday afternoon, I believe. And in pulls this Cadillac pulling a trailer, big old Cadillac, and out comes little Jimmy Dickens. And when we say little Jimmy Dickens, I'll show you a picture of he and I in just a second. Stands about 4'11", 5 foot tall, something like that. And he gets out, and out comes his either wife or girlfriend, I don't know which, with this big bouffant hairdo way up to here. And she like towered above him. And the band rolls out of the back seat. A 4-member band too. If not five, it's 4, if not 5-member band. And they get their instruments and equipment out of the trailer, set it up there, and play for this crowd of about 15 people in the drizzling rain. And that was the picture there they are, playing for this tremendous crowd here that came in to see. Drove all the way from Nashville, Tennessee to eastern North Carolina. That's a long drive, Probably drove through the night to get there. Who knows what he got paid? Not much though. But here I am. Now this would have been 40 years ago, approximately 39 or 40 years ago. And there's me and little Jimmy Dickens. No, that's not the same blue jean jacket. I've gotten a lot bigger since then. But you can see I'm about 6 foot tall, and there's little Jimmy Dickens. Okay, I love that picture, and there's more of a story to that, attending that event, but I won't share it now. So that's who I sing live. And number 3, a sealed album. Now that was a hard one to do. I couldn't make this video. I was going to make this video about 2 days ago, but I was, as soon as I get records, I open them. And I didn't have anything that was still sealed. So I had to wait for something that came in. And when you order from Smithsonian, they usually send it FedEx, which I don't like because it tends to be more expensive. But it wasn't too bad. $10 to ship it. And it arrived yesterday morning. And so they're all sealed, so I haven't opened these yet. And this is I got these from the Smithsonian Folkways records. There we go. You can see it's 70th anniversary of Folkways. Woody Guthrie, Struggle, and Del McClurry, one of the elder statesmen of bluegrass today, but this is a recording he made in 1967 for Arhoolie Records, right there, Arhoolie, and Smithsonian got the rights to Arhoolie, and so they repressed this one in 2018. Looking forward to listening to that. And the second of 2 albums that Hazel Dickens and Alice Gerrard did for Folkways, Won't You Come and Sing for Me. And this was just issued this year, a couple of months ago, along with their first album. Mo Ash, who owned Folkways Records, the story went that they did their first album, and quickly came back, and it was not that it was a million seller or anything, didn't sell that many, but it was pretty popular. They came back in and he said, let's do another album. And they went to the studio and cut another album with the same lineup. Billy Baker, well, Billy Baker might not have been in the first lineup, but Lamar Greer and David Grisman, very young David Grisman or Dave Grisman, and they recorded it, and then they didn't hear anything about it again, and they went on and did 2 albums for Rounder, and then finally Ash says, I think we did record something from them a while back. Went into the vault. He had just totally forgotten about it after they did it, and 8 years after the fact, they issued that. So there are 4 albums from that duo, Hazel Dickens and Alice Gerrard, and 2 on Folkways and 2 on Rounder. Okay, and let's see. A record you've only listened to once. Had to really think about this one. Usually when I get a record, what I'll do is I'll have a box upstairs, and after I've cleaned the records down here in the basement, I may or may not listen to it down here, but more often than not, I'll just carry all the records I cleaned upstairs in my living room, and on that stereo I'll listen. And I'll have them in a box there, and they'll kind of stay up there for a couple of weeks, and I'll kind of go through them and listen to them 2 or 3 times. Usually, not always. But here's one someone gave me. The album is called Dizzy, and it's I don't know that I can pronounce that. Juca Perco Tritone. Dizzy. Juca Perco on the alto sax, and Tita Lot Jorgen on bass, and Tipo Marknen on drums. And of course, you can imagine this is a bebop album from a European group. I want to say, I don't want to linger too long on it. I want to say they're in the Netherlands, maybe, or something. A young artist who actually toured with some of the greats at a very young age. And this is his album from 2017. And it's really very good album. I just only listened to it one time for one reason or another, but now I'll have it sitting out and I'll end up listening to it a couple of times. And finally, an autographed album. I already showed you the Little Jimmy Dickens, but I've got another autographed album. My photos are on my phone now, so I haven't ever gotten them printed up, but I got some pictures taken with them too. But this Southern Culture on the Skids, Zombified, and they were playing a street festival in Sanford, which is about 20 miles from where I live. And I bought from their merch table a couple of their records and got each of the members to sign. There's only 3 members in the band. There's Mary Huff, and there's Dave Hartman on the drums, and Rick Miller on guitar. And Mary and Rick do the vocals. Fun band. Been around since the early 1980s, I guess you'd say. They play a easy to categorize psycho, Billy, rock, country jam. Songs on here: Zombified, Undertaker, Swamp Thing, She's My Witch, Bloodsucker, Sinister Purpose, Torture, Devil Stomping Grounds, Bats Are Sleeping, and let's see, what's that? Ghoul with Idol with Glowing Eyes, The Creeper, I Ball You Later, and Primitive are the songs on here. This is a great Halloween record. Record played during Halloween, not specifically Halloween record, just a lot of songs about ghouls and such. Okay, so those are my my answers to the 5 prompts. And again, Sam's got a great channel. I encourage you to enter his celebration/contest and subscribe to Sam. Subscribe to Glen as well. I'll give you links to both of those. And I'd be happy to have you subscribe to my channel as well if you have any interest in doing so. Do hit the like button. That way more people will see this entry. It'll get on those algorithm things, and more people will see this, and maybe more people will learn about Sam's channel. Okay? All right, I'll sign off now. Everybody remember, be kind to your neighbors, because we're all neighbors.